Touch the camera. Don't touch the camera.
I'm not touching the camera.
We have been told that you guys are squatters here.
You think I'm finna be squatting in some house? You stupid.
Over my head like the WWF.
You grabbed Snoop?
40 Crip. I had Snoop.
I heard him say some shit like saying, is he blood, is he Crip, and this and this and that. And I'm like, cuz he don't know nothing about no gangbanging. Like, why would he, you know what I mean?
Before the fame, the record deals, and the spotlight, Jayo Felony was already a name that carried weight in the streets. A true Rollin 40 Crip from Southeast San Diego, known by wild aliases like Bullet Loco, Peer Pressure, and One Shot Kill. He wasn't pretending, he was the real thing. When some of the biggest rappers decided to test him, they learned fast that Jayo wasn't one to play with. From allegedly jumping Snoop Dogg in front of everybody to pressing Jay-Z right in his own city, Jayo's name came with danger and respect. Born James Savage on December 31st, 1969, in the hard projects of Portsmouth, Virginia, Jayo's childhood was far from easy. His father was living comfortably across town with money and multiple women, while James and his mother barely scraped by. Poverty wasn't just around them, it was their reality, breathing through every corner of a city that was crumbling. By the time he was a kid, James already knew life didn't hand out mercy. You had to take what you needed. At only 9 years old, his instincts kicked in during a terrifying night. He woke up to see flames eating through the ceiling.
Crooked cuz, all the strength of God, all my YA came out. I went back.
A kerosene heater had caught the curtains, and the whole apartment was turning into a firestorm. His mom and grandma were outside, not even realizing what was happening. James didn't freeze, he acted. He grabbed his baby niece, just 8 months old, and ran straight through the fire to get her to safety. He saved her life that night.
Crip Nicks was like, man, it used to be some of the most funny memories I got.
But the flames took everything else. The family lost it all, and even though the Red Cross helped for a minute, they had nothing left in Virginia. By 1980, the family packed up and headed west to San Diego, hoping for a fresh start. But this wasn't the beachy postcard version of the city people imagined. They landed deep in Southeast San Diego, bouncing between Chalice View and Mount Hope, neighborhoods far from the ocean breeze and packed with tension. Back then, the area south of the 94 freeway was heating up fast. By the late 70s and early 80s, Southeast San Diego was becoming a battlefield. This was Rollin 40 Crips territory, and these weren't some imitation sets. They had real LA roots. The crew was founded by Donnie Ramsey, an original Harlem Crip from Los Angeles who brought the set south and locked down blocks around 41st, 45th, and 47th Street and Market. That's the world James Savage stepped into as a preteen, where loyalty and danger went hand in hand. His first run-in with the system came early, while he was at Gompers Junior High, a school sitting right in the middle of Rollin 40 territory. He caught a serious charge, strong-arm robbery, and even though he was still just a kid, the system didn't show mercy. He got 9 months in juvenile detention, cut off from the streets and his freedom.
None didn't mean he didn't punk out. It mean he just didn't want to
go there.
Pac didn't even see them. I did because I got a gangbang mentality. I seen start circling and putting their hands in their pockets while Pac is in this nigga ear telling him, I made a song dissing.
When he got out in 1979, everything had changed. The block was more active, and through a homie named Tash, someone he met inside, James learned just how much the neighborhood had evolved. He was ready to dive right back in. James Savage faded away. Bullet Loco took his place. Soon he was also known as Peer Pressure and One Shot Kill. These weren't flashy rap names for show. They were earned through real street action. Jayo was putting in work for the Rollin 40's, standing against rival crews like the West Coast Crips, Skyline Pirates, and Lincoln Park Bloods. The streets respected him because he was active long before the rap fame. That's what made Jayo Felony different from so many rappers who came later. He wasn't a rapper pretending to be a gangster. He was a gangster who found rap. His teenage years were filled with chaos, danger, and close calls that could have ended it all. Jayo himself has admitted to having moments where guns were drawn and survival was the only rule that mattered. Every second counted. One wrong move could mean life or death.
None of that happened, bro. It was a mutual respect thing. When Pac and Nas met each other, it was nobody talking disrespect from both sides. Maybe the people behind Nas and the people behind Pac was mean mugging, saying certain things, but Pac and Nas handled it like real.
While other up-and-coming rappers were busy rehearsing rhymes at school events, Jayo Felony was learning survival the hard way. Inside the brutal walls of the California Youth Authority and later, the adult prison system, it was raw, unforgiving, and real. But ironically, that's where J.O.'s mindset began to evolve. Behind bars, he found his focus. Locked away, J.O. started writing seriously like stories, rhymes, thoughts about loyalty and betrayal. He even wrote a whole book called Cellmates and Sellouts, where he broke down prison politics and the cold truth about what snitching really means. But soon, it wasn't the pen or the paper that gave him purpose. It was music. Rap became his way out, his method to tell his story with no filters, no lies, and no fake Hollywood polish. By 1994, the industry finally woke up. J.O. Felony signed with Jam Master Jay Records, owned by the Run DMC legend himself, Jam Master Jay.
Off of paperwork or whatever. And he was like, man, we want to sign you to the label. So I signed.
That moment wasn't just a win for J.O., it was a victory for San Diego. He officially became the first rapper from the city to score a major label deal. A year later, he dropped his debut album, Take a Ride. The project was hard, raw, and full of that Southeast San Diego energy. The kind of sound that didn't care about radio or charts. It was real street music, loud and unfiltered. But J.O.'s biggest impact didn't come from his sales. It came from a phrase that would forever change West Coast rap culture. It all went down during a chill session with Bay Area legend E40. They were at E40's house, vibing on the basketball court, freestyling, talking about life and music. While breaking down what made his style different, J.O. said something that stopped everyone in their tracks. A line that would echo through the culture. Ninja F hip-hop, this Crip hop. That moment hit different. He wasn't just talking.
Pop with E40, you know what I'm saying? And then I heard them saying, you know what I mean? And all I was saying is if I say something that you made up, I'm gonna be like, I make this like MC8, you feel me?
Right.
Just paying homage is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? And even E40 was like, hey, nephew, ain't that your shit? You know?
He was defining a movement. He even dropped the phrase later on E40's album, The Element of Surprise, officially stamping it into the culture. Crip hop became his creation, not some marketing stunt, but a statement. A voice born from Southeast San Diego streets, from identity, loyalty, and lived experience. By the late 90s, J.O. Felony was solidified. He had earned his respect the hard way, in the streets and in the booth. After Take a Ride, he signed with Def Jam Records, stepping up his game and collaborating with rap heavyweights like Method Man, DMX, and Ice Cube. He had the streets on his side, label support behind him, and most importantly, his credibility was untouchable. But then came 2001, and everything shifted. That year, John Singleton dropped Baby Boy, a movie that defined a generation of West Coast masculinity. The film was huge, and the soundtrack was even bigger. But when J.O. heard it, something instantly felt off. On the track list was a song by Snoop Dogg and Tha Isadaz titled Crip Hop. To J.O., that was a straight-up violation. You didn't just take another man's creation and act like it was yours, especially when that creation represented a specific neighborhood and set. And even worse, no credit was given. J.O. felt like his concept, his idea, and his voice were being stolen and repackaged by someone with a much bigger platform. And to make it worse, J.O. also believed that Snoop had lifted lyrics from his own track, Never Leave Me Alone, without credit. To him, it wasn't just business. It was personal. His identity, his originality, his legacy, it was all being played with. And if there was one thing about J.O. Felony, he never handled disrespect quietly. When he found out that Snoop was filming Baby Boy right in Rollin 40's territory in Los Angeles, he made a call to his homie Biscuit, and they pulled up to the set without hesitation. Snoop was chilling in his trailer surrounded by his entourage and security, some of them Rollin 60 Crips acting as bodyguards. But that didn't stop J.O. He walked straight in like he belonged there. Witnesses, including Trey D of Tha Isadaz, said the whole room's energy shifted the moment J.O. stepped inside. Then, chaos. Security jumped in, bodies started colliding, and the trailer turned into a war zone. The fight broke out fast and wild. J.O. got knocked back for a second, but the adrenaline had him on fire. In his own words, he said something deep inside just snapped. In the middle of the madness, J.O. grabbed Snoop Dogg, lifted him clean off the ground, and slammed him. Yeah, slammed him hard. Snoop was on the floor, curled up and not fighting back. The whole thing ended almost as fast as it started. That's when the street code kicked in. Big D, Snoop's main bodyguard from the Rollin 60s, stepped up and stopped things from getting uglier. Instead of letting it turn into a full-on riot, he recognized what was going down and shut the room down immediately. But by then, word had already spread. The story jumped from the trailer to the whole movie set. Crips from nearby neighborhoods pulled up fast to back J.O. and Biscuit, and everything came to a standstill. Production froze, walkie-talkies went silent, movement stopped, and that whole polished Hollywood version of gangster life got exposed in real time. After that, both camps did what rappers always do. They took it to the mic. Snoop Dogg and 40’s dropped F all that yapping, brushing the incident off like it was nothing. But J.O. fired back heavy. On his 2001 album Crip Hop, he dropped Use a Character and told the story raw.
They didn't tell me where it was. We get to that motherfucker, it's 100,000 bloods on the corner. I said, hey man, go find the OG from him, bring that nigga down here. Got to shoot 3-4 days in a row, no harm, no foul.
He rapped Catch Dog on the Baby Boy movie set. He froze like hollow points was at his neck. This be Ninja? No, he can't mess with me. He tried to jump me, but I grabbed this tall dude before his cousin, slammed him. Now he ducking like he know what's coming. J.O. called Snoop a character again and again, and that word hit hard. From that point on, people started questioning how real Snoop's Crip image really was. Over the years, a lot of street figures started calling out Snoop's authenticity, pointing to that incident as proof that his gang persona was more image than reality. The accusations didn't come from the internet, they came from real people in the streets. The biggest blow came from Suge Knight, who straight up accused Snoop of acting like a double agent, someone who played both sides to protect himself. According to Suge, Snoop allegedly fed info to rivals, set up his own people, and moved in ways that kept him out of serious trouble. Suge painted him as the kind of guy who let others take the heat while he walked away clean. Suge even brought up Snoop's 1993 murder case, saying his acquittal wasn't just about a good lawyer, it was strategy. Snoop's bodyguard, McKinley Malik Lee, took most of the legal blame because of the gun situation, while Snoop's legal team carefully distanced him from the case. Whether those claims were true or not, the story stuck, especially in the streets. People said Snoop always had a way of slipping out of situations that buried others. And then came the Training Day story, another moment that made people raise eyebrows. Snoop claimed he ordered a custom blue tracksuit for the movie, staying true to his Crip image, a move some saw as branding, others saw as acting. When Snoop showed up to the Training Day set, he quickly realized they were filming in a blood-controlled neighborhood, straight enemy territory. According to Snoop's version, he played it cool, said he spoke to the local OG, and that the man even rolled up in a wheelchair, just like Snoop's character in the movie. To keep things peaceful, Snoop claimed he bought $300 worth of weed from him, and just like that, everything was calm on set. But when the real story surfaced, it painted a totally different picture. Snoop wasn't out there brokering peace like some street diplomat. The Bloods in that area weren't having it. They started causing problems, even throwing bottles at Snoop's trailer trying to shake him up. While Snoop stayed low inside, it was someone else who actually diffused the tension. Spice One, a respected gangster rap pioneer who just happened to get the call that things were about to explode. According to Spice One of his OG Crip homies hit him up and warned him that Bloods were outside Snoop's trailer, getting rowdy and ready to stir chaos. Spice One pulled up quick, and the second the Bloods saw who it was, the whole energy changed. They knew Spice One was solid. That respect alone cooled things off instantly. Spice didn't walk in trying to act tough or start something. He kept it chill. He told them straight up that if things got worse, the cops would swarm the set, and nobody wanted that kind of heat. The Bloods backed off, slid around the corner, lit up some weed, and chilled until the police rolled through for a quick sweep and bounced. Once the scene calmed down, Spice One went to Snoop's trailer.
I ain't gonna say that, but you know, that's what he tell me. And I barely understand him, but I got it. I understood him. Since the OG said go over there and holler at him and try to you know, calm him down, because I think they was throwing bottles at.
They kicked it, smoked a little, and Snoop had no idea how close things had come to blowing up outside. Beyond the street politics, a lot of critics say Snoop Dogg has a habit of rewriting history, often making himself sound like either the frontline soldier or the peacemaker, when witnesses say he wasn't either. One of the biggest examples, the supposed tense encounter between Tupac and Nas in New York. Snoop has told that story like it almost turned violent. But Napoleon from the Outlaws, who was actually there, called him out saying Snoop wasn't even present and that the meeting was respectful, not a near shootout. Then there's how Snoop talks about Biggie Smalls. Over time, he's painted their relationship like they were close friends, bonded by mutual respect. But Gene Deal, Diddy's longtime bodyguard, completely shut that down. Gene said, if they were really that tight, Snoop would have linked with Biggie when he was in LA the week he was killed. But that never happened. According to Gene, Biggie didn't hold that kind of respect for Snoop, and the friendship narrative was built after Biggie's death to boost Snoop's image. Even closer to home, things got rocky with Snoop's own set, the Rollin 20 Crips of Long Beach. Some of the original homies started feeling like Snoop was repping the name without really giving back. He was still shouting them out in songs, still claiming the hood, but according to people from that circle, he wasn't helping the ones who came up with him the way they expected. The tension between Snoop Dogg and his Long Beach homies really blew up after a story shared by a Crip named Flossie. According to Flossie, one of their homeboys had opened a new restaurant in the neighborhood. The spot was buzzing, starting to become a local hangout. Since Snoop had the fame, reach, and influence, they figured he'd show love, maybe invest a little, or at least drop a quick Instagram post to give the place some shine. A single post from Snoop could have changed the whole restaurant's future overnight. But according to Flossie, that never happened. Instead of showing support, Snoop allegedly brushed them off. Flossie claimed Snoop acted like they were begging for handouts, like every time someone from the hood hit him up, they just wanted money. But that wasn't what they were asking for. As Flossie put it, we didn't want a check, we wanted support from someone who could lift the whole neighborhood. Then the rumors started spinning out of control. Word on the streets was that Snoop had been banned from his own hood. People said he pulled up to Long Beach with 3 or 4 cars deep, security rolling with him. But instead of love, he got turned away. The whisper said the Rollin 20 Crips weren't rocking with him anymore, that they'd officially cut ties. Over time, the gap between Snoop Dogg, the global superstar, and Snoop Dogg, the claimed gang member, became obvious. And that split was exactly what J.O. Felony had already seen years earlier during the Baby Boy drama. But J.O. wasn't done standing up for what he called Crip Hop. This time, his focus turned east, toward New York. It started subtly on Jay-Z's Streets is Watching intro, where Jay rapped, "Is he a Blood? Is he Crip? Is he that? Is he this?" To most fans, it just sounded like street commentary. But to J.O., it felt like disrespect. He saw it as a casual shot at something that had cost real lives. Things really escalated on the remix to Change the Game when Memphis Bleek dropped the line, "Down on Sunset, I run sets." For someone like J.O., repping Southeast San Diego and seeing L.A. as connected ground, that was more than just rap talk. It crossed into territory. So J.O. fired back the only way he knew how, directly. He jumped in the booth and dropped Trued Up Remix, a diss aimed squarely at Rockefeller Records. Jay-Z didn't stay silent. On Murder Marcyville, he clapped back with the line, "Joe, you not a felon, you a misdemeanor." Most rappers would have let it end there. But J.O. wasn't most rappers. He wasn't the type to keep a beef just on wax. He flew all the way to New York City, linked up with some trusted people, and rolled straight into Marcy Project, Jay-Z's home turf. Right there in front of the Marcy Project sign, J.O. set up cameras and filmed a BET commercial promoting Trued Up. But unlike the wild scene with Snoop, this one didn't end in violence. A mutual connection helped open a line of communication, and soon after, Jay-Z reached out. The two ended up meeting face-to-face at a big industry event. They talked man to man, cleared the air, and the beef ended peacefully. Still, while J.O. was handling both street beefs and industry battles, he was quietly fighting another struggle behind the scenes. By the late 90s, he was signed to Def Jam, the most powerful label in hip-hop at the time. But when Def Jam absorbed Rush-associated labels, they wiped out most of their West Coast roster. The Loonies were dropped, Drew Down was dropped, but J.O. stayed. Lyor Cohen, one of the label's top execs, personally told J.O. he was a top-tier MC who never made weak music. But respect didn't equal support. J.O. started noticing the difference. How J. Rule got huge budgets, massive marketing, non-stop radio spins, while he had to fight just to get a push. The gap between East Coast and West Coast artists at Def Jam was clear and frustrating. Things hit a breaking point after Trued Up dropped. Once J.O. dissed Jay-Z, the whole industry seemed to close ranks. Word spread that radio stations were getting pressure from higher-ups, even threats that summer jam slots would be pulled if they kept spinning J.O.'s record. J.O. Felony wasn't about to let anyone write his story for him. He demanded his release from Def Jam, refusing to be tossed aside like another forgotten artist. He even made the label reach out to XXL Magazine to set the record straight. He wasn't dropped, he chose to walk away. From there, J.O. went independent, taking full control of his career. He dropped projects like Crip Hop and Underground, cutting out the middlemen and feeding his music straight to the streets. Every verse, every beat, 100% his vision. As time passed, J.O. evolved. He started releasing music under his real name, James Savage, putting distance between himself and the Bullet Loco days without ever denying where he came from. He reconnected with Exhibit, signing to Open Bar Entertainment, which opened up new opportunities for him to expand his craft. Then came the next chapter, acting. He landed a role in Broken Ground and hit the international stage, performing in front of tens of thousands from Moscow to Bogota. His story wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about growth, redemption, and owning his legacy. He even returned to his roots as a writer, expanding on the ideas he first began while locked up. His book, Cellmates and Sellouts, written during his time in Pelican Bay, dives deep into the harsh realities of prison politics and the code of silence that defines it. Through it all, J.O. Felony stayed authentic. No gimmicks, no fake stories, just real-life experiences turned into art. Even when staying real meant losing out on mainstream fame, he never switched up. And today, the beefs are squashed. Snoop and J.O. are cool now, and both have moved forward, showing that even in the roughest corners of hip-hop, growth is possible. If you made it this far, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into hip-hop's most untold stories, and we'll see you in the next video.